Hi everybody, it's the Steckline Report with some good news and not such good news. I hate to talk about bad news. We're not going to do that on this Steckline Report, but we've got some things that are a little bit bothersome to us and I want to talk about that, plus the good things in just a minute. Stand by.
Every father would like to have their son farm with them and grandson and continue to farm. It's kind of a legacy, I guess. And then my dad was a farmer, and then of course then I am and my son. So actually Jackson, would be the fifth generation from my grandfather. It's going to be key for us to have American Ag Credit. It's a long-term partnership with him is what it is.
Well, folks, the crops get bigger as the old weather hangs in there pretty good. And that's just the way it is. Rain makes grain. We've been talking about that for 100 years. And as the USDA reports came out here lately, indicating that the crop just gets bigger every month they project it. And that included here at the 1st of November as well. In fact, if you've noticed, the old grain markets had a tough time going up. Well, how's it going to when you have corn production up 200 million bushels in 30 days from USDA's estimate? Yeah, that's what happened. The report that just came out, 200 million bushels more in October, at the end of October than at the end of September. And that's all reports from farmers, folks, and I don't think there's any doubt that we do have a lot of corn around. And so consequently, that's enough said to make it pretty tough for this old grain market to go higher. Ending stocks for corn and soybeans both above trade expectations. Wheat 50 million bushels higher than anybody thought it would be as well. Why? Because wheat exports are at the lowest since 1971, they tell us. And so USDA lowered their export projections, and that leaves more carryover for us here in the United States. World carryover wasn't quite so bad. A little bit better news there, especially for wheat, but not enough to make that market rebound very much. In the meantime, folks, we are getting some help from farmers. Farmers are not quite as silly as we used to be. We took it off the combine, hauled it to the elevator and said, write me a check. It's not going on this time, folks. Listen to this. DTN did a little survey, about 430 people. 44% of the farmers said they've sold or forward price less than 10% of their crop. Almost half the farmers said they've done nothing with their crop, or basically nothing, less than 10%. The poll showed that 17% of the farmers have sold up to 25% of their corn crop. That's only 17% have sold a quarter of their crop. And another 20% have sold between 26 and 50%. So we've got a lot of corn in bins in the United States. Now someday that'll come back to haunt us, but right now it's helping us hold the market as best as can be. Oh, by the way, speaking of grain, folks, there isn't any doubt about it. This ought to help a little bit. USDA announced in May that it was making available $100 million in grants through the Biofuel Infrastructure Partnership. That's going to apply to states and private partners who were required to match the federal funding by a 1-to-1 ratio. Well, they received a lot of applications, outpacing the 100 million, but in any event, a bumper crop of new biofuel blender pumps are on our way to a lot of places across the United States because of this grant program aimed at expanding the number of pumps with E85 included. USDA says that $210 million made available through the infrastructure partnership would nearly double the number of flex fuel pumps nationally. States that are participating, I'm not going to name all of them, but Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Nebraska, Missouri, North Carolina, Ohio, South Dakota, Texas, Wisconsin, just a few. Good news there, folks. The more we can get rid of that corn through fuel, the better off we are, but boy, do we have a little bit of a problem there. We'll talk about it on the next Steckline Report. We've got people from corn country who are representing us, who we voted in, telling Congress in a letter and EPA in a letter that they should reduce the amount of ethanol that we can use in the next few years. Can you believe that? Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, representatives from those countries. Stand by. On the next Steckline Report, I want to talk about them. In fact, I'll name a few of them.